G'day everybody, it's Extreme Gamer Joe here from Extreme Tabletop Gaming. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I'm going to run you through the quick battle recap number 2, a game between myself, Extreme Gamer Joe, and my Eldari against Chris and his Imperial soup, consisting of a Imperial Guard detachment as well as a Custodes detachment. We use the open war objective cards, and the three main components are an objective, deployment, and twist. The deployment was actually the same as QBR 1, where there's a player in the middle of a table for the hammer and anvil, and then the second player is on the two outside periphery kind of starting in. So almost like one player is being sandwiched between the other two players' deployment zones. The objective today was draw no quarter. Essentially there were two objectives which were roughly placed in the middle of the table. You basically had to hold that objective, and at the end of your turn you would score them either 0, 1, or 2 points, depending on if you held 0, 1, or 2 objectives. And that was the key thing. We did not use any secondary objectives, so no Slay the Warlord, Linebreaker, or First Blood. And the twist was pretty cool. It was the Eager for a Fight, which means that you add 2 inches to the movement characteristic of all models and add 1 to all advance and charge rolls. So the open war cards are great, and we've had a lot of success with them the last few times playing. They're fun, they're quick and easy to do, so that's pretty neat. So moving on, as you can see here, we have great table, city number 1 by FLG, some of our custom MDF terrain provided by club members who built it, as well as terrain from Zulk, and terrain from Imperial sector from the Games Workshop lineup. We went into, I'll just quickly now go into our key armies at 2,000 points. Starting with Chris, and his Supreme Command detachment was Captain General Trajan Valeris. In the bottom there you can see, work in progress with his army. He then also had 3 Alaris Custodian Guards just above him, and then finally the hard-hitting shield captains on a Dawn Eagle jet bike ×3. And those guys were rocking the salvo launchers, which were just brutal. So that was his Supreme Command detachment, running about 780 points. And then he had a elite detachment of Inquisitor Greyfax leading for some of that Great Deny the Witch, as well as 3 Eversor Assassins. And his third detachment here was an Astra Militarum Imperium detachment. As you can see, he had a tank commander with that Punisher Gatling cannon. He had 3 squads of infantry, and then he had 2 Lehman Russes as well in the back there. So a good rounded out 3 detachment, 2,000 point Imperial Guard list for sure. Definitely hard hitting, and definitely had some pretty neat maneuvers in there, especially with those 3 assassins that caused me no less than a heartache the whole time. We'll then go into mine. I didn't actually play my tournament ready list that I'm preparing. I played something a little bit more fun and neat because I just got some models in from a guy out in New Brunswick, and I want to try them out. So as you can see on the right, I have they're both Althway battalions. On the right, led by Eldrad Othran himself, as well as a 2-man Warlock Conclave and an Autarch on the bike with Fusion Gun and Laser Lance. Next, the 3 troop choices were 3 Ranger units, and yes, some Guardians are acting as Rangers today because the rest are getting painted up. So all 5-man Ranger groups. Then there's a 5-man Shining Spears led by an Exarch with the Star Lance, and then a unit of 6 Howling Banshees, which I hadn't used yet, ever. So that was kind of fun to give them a shot and see how they go. Lastly, just because, just for division of positions here, there was the Hemlock Wraith Fighter, as well as a, looks like a Wave Serpent as well. So that was detachment number 1 battalion. Number 2, 2 Spirit Seers, 1 had Protect Jinx, 1 had Quicken. 3 units of Guardians, which are again Rangers for today. A unit of 10 Striking Scorpions, 1 of them had the better close combat weapon for the Exarch. A unit of 5 Wraith Guard, and a Fire Prism, and a Wraith Lord with the cool sword, the Ghost Glaive. That was basically roughly 2,000 points. There's some points, I think I was a little under there because I just threw together the list literally that morning, within 5 minutes before starting the game, so that was that. So next we will go into deployment, and basically, as you can see here, Chris was in the middle. He had his tank commander off to the right hand side. His mortar was in the right hand major ruin in the middle. And then there was the 2 Lehman Russes to the left, and for Shield Brother Captain on Dawn bikes, there's 1 on the left, 1 top of the big building, and 1 inside the big middle ruin as well. He had infantry sprinkled throughout. The Eversor Assassins were in Deep Strike Reserve, as were the Alaris Guard and his big boss man there, Captain Trajan Valeris. For my deployment, as you can see, the Hemlocks on the left, as well as the Autarch. Just in front of the Autarch in the ruin is the unit of 5 Shining Spears. Then I put the dedicated transport with all those characters that you're seeing there, the Warlock Conclave, the 2 Spirit Seers, Eldrad, and 6 Howling Banshees, just in the second story of the ruins. And then on the main story, the main floor, underneath the Wave Serpent is my Fire Prism, just kind of with some line of sight and trying to get some cover saves if needed. I also sprinkled out through infiltration the 6 units of Rangers, 1 in the far left, 1 in the far right ruins, 1 in the middle ruins, which is where the objective is, as well as the back right, the very back center in the back of the map there, and 1 in the top and tallest ruins. Just basically trying to get to where the objectives could be and causing him some deep strike issues depending on where he wanted to go. So then moving into my first turn, movement phase, because he puts stuff so close to me, my bikes were moving 16 plus 2 inches, I rock and rolled right into the middle. And because, so the bikes moved from that big ruin out 16 inches right in front of his first infantry squad. My Autarch joined them. My Wave Serpent essentially dismounted all of the HQs, which you can start to see in the bottom there. And the Wave Serpent moved forward to block a counter move. And you can just see my Ranger unit in the middle ruin just holding onto the objective. Great, great positioning. And the Howling Banshees, because they can advance and charge, I was moving 8 plus 2 is 10 inches. I rolled a 6 or something to advance. Plus it was plus 1 to advance. I mean, I think they went 16 or some inches just straight up the board. And as you can see, right in front of Inquisitor Greyfax and that small squad. So, and this is just the movement phase, right up into his face, right in front of 2 Leman Russes and a Shield Brother Captain there. So it's so far so good. Maybe. We'll see. Moving into the next phase, yeah, I basically charged with my bikes, got a big enough number that I was able to go in behind. I guess I'll roll back just really quick. The Psychic phase, I was able to doom a tank, jinx the other tank, and protect and fortune myself. Some Psychic stuff did go off. I did some shooting, or maybe I'm just about, oh, this is why. In the Psychic phase, I quickened the bikes. That's why in the Psychic phase still, they moved into the back there. That's their positioning, was their extra move. At the end of the shooting phase though, things had gone well. I essentially was able to shoot and kill Inquisitor Greyfax with Rangers. I was able to kill a tank with between the fusion gun on the Autarch as well as the laser lances and the fire prism. And the small guns, the twin shuriken catapults, did their work for more anti-infantry. So at the end of the shooting phase, things were looking pretty good so far, and then we went into the charge phase, and boom, all of a sudden, Autarch and the Spears are clearly into the Shield Captain there. The Howling Banshees are into the last remaining 4 or 5 Guardsmen, and I did pull in the second Leman Russ battle tank as well. So that was pretty cool. Kind of at the end of the fight phase, I did kill the Shield Brother in the first round of combat between all the Star and Laser Lances, so that was good. I put a few wounds into the tank, but not many. I think I pretty much threw all the attacks into that Shield Captain because I wasn't sure how durable he was, and I just did not want him, knowing that he was T6 and my Strength 6 Laser Lances. I didn't want to risk it, so I think I overkilled him, but it ended up being quite close, so I'm glad I did put all the attacks into him. So looking at the dead pile, as you can see there, you got Greyfax, a squad, a Shield Brother, and a tank, so not a bad start for the Eldar. At the end of the turn, this is kind of what it looks like. Sorry, at the end of my turn, it was looking okay, and then he brought in his stuff from reserves. I can see in his first movement phase, he brought in the 3 Custodes plus the boss man Valeris to the left. His Shield Captain from the top of the ruin moved to the left and down, ready to basically be right in the back of my spears. And his third Shield Captain, which was on the far right in the large ruin, moved his 14 plus 2 inches right up in front of those Banshees. So positioning wise, doing very well, and probably going to be problematic for the rest of the game. I can't recall if shooting phase was overly effective. I think I had done quite a bit of damage, killing a tank, taking one out of the fight, and then his Punisher tank commander up in the right did some stuff, but nothing overly notable, although as you can see my Wave Serpent is down to 3 wounds, so 10 wounds were taken off. With the -1 with the shield, it is pretty nice in the shooting phase. Surprisingly, the Alaris Custodians, between the grenade launcher and their rapid fire equivalent bolt gun there, they did quite a bit of damage. They cleared out some scouts, they cleared out a couple wounds on some other things, and started getting things ready to go. So in the charge phase, he of course put the 2 remaining shield captains in. He did get a boss charge with Valeris, and the Eversor, who I forgot to previously mention, did come in and do his 3d6 charge right in the back of the bike. So we're gonna see where this goes, and bam, all my bikes are dead except for the Exarch, so 4 down. Autarch is dead, great, and 2 of my Howling Banshees are taken down too. So not terrible losses, but not great either. I was hoping to have a few bikes left, and I'm only down to the 1 dude. Not great. Plus he has Valeris on the table, he has the Alaris Custodians on the table, and they're hard hitting, to say the very least. Big damage, and it hurt a lot. I do like that my Shining Spears are damaged too, and I think his Dawn bikes are more like D3, so I kind of like, currently I like my spears from that perspective, but he has invul saves, I did not, so that's just how that went. Kind of taking a snapshot back at the end of his, phase, he did quite a bit of damage. Now, into my movement phase, I pulled back with the Banshees, kind of made a screen. I brought the 5 Rangers down from the left ruin to create a screen with his guard that he was going to have to now at least chew through. I brought all my Psychers up to do as much smiting as possible. I brought my Wave Serpent back and right, just underneath the objective, to get just a few extra bodies, or in this case a vehicle, onto that objective to score it. As you can see, moving to the top of the map there, the Hemlock came around to get a nice rear view smite / shooting on the leftmost Dawn Guard captain. My Shining Spear is sitting on objective 2, which is on top of the big building in the middle of the map, and my Wraith Lord has come down and started moving to where his Punisher tank used to be. So clearly, I guess I missed a picture here, but the shooting phase, my Wraith Guards came down and shot out his tank, his Punisher tank commander, and I've done a little bit more shooting because he's down a Dawn bike as well. So clearly, I did take out 1 more Dawn bike at this point. I think a lot of it's to smite, and also to the Hemlock Wraith Fighter, which put those, I think it was 4 shots and 4 wounds into the back of one of the bikes, doing some good damage. So, kind of looking at it from a lower down perspective, you've got yourself the Eversor right in front of the screen. The Alaris Custodians are staring down at my Rangers, and all of my HQs are... I needed that smite, and it is getting harder and harder to cast on the +1/+1/+1 for successive casts, so I didn't do as much with it as I had hoped, and that stupid assassin's still alive, plus he still has a 2 in Deep Strike Reserve. So here he is at the bottom of his second turn, movement phase. He's come in, he's crashed my line, Guardians are dying, movement phase is underway, his bike's up in my face, his boss man Valeris is up in my face, and yeah, as you can see, Eldrad's just surveying the battlefield there, and it's not looking too good for the good guys. At the back end of that, I've lost my Wave Serpent, I've lost my entire screen. My Fire Prism that was hidden now has 2 assassins that have been able to get their 3d6 charges off them pretty easily, although funny enough, in the fight phase my Fire Prism did get a wound off or 2 on those assassins, which is really just funny. But yeah, I've lost quite a bit there. As you can see, he's holding in strong. It's a Farseer and a Spirit Seer. My Warlock Conclave was rolled up and my other Spirit Seer was rolled up. But Eldrad with this 3-up invul and this lucky Spirit Seer with this 4-up invul escaped with 2 wounds, and Eldrad was fully good to go. So not terrible, and although my Howling Banshees and forward Screen of Guard and my Wave Serpent definitely bit the dust there, I've still got my Warlord intact. I still have a guy sitting on the objective 2 and objective 1 right in front of you with the Guardian, also known as my Ranger Squad. So I'm still collecting points and I haven't been wiped out yet. So my movement phase, I bring the Hemlock right into the rear end of this last guard. I bring my Fire Prism, I basically disengage my Fire Prism out of combat with the 2 assassins and put them right on top of the objective. And my Spirit Seer and Eldred have advanced quickly up into the ruin next to the objective on the 2nd floor with the Fire Prism and essentially blocking as best as possible a charge, because you can't move within an inch unless you declare it. And also the Ranger squad on the ground level being my now 3rd level of screen. He still has 2 of the Alaris guards. He has his Eversor plus the 2 in the back that you can't see, just that were in contact with the Fire Prism. And he's still going strong. He's got his beat stick Valeris in there too, so I had to make some moves. Kind of getting after the psychic phase, I was able to fortune the Fire Prism to keep them alive. I brought in my 10. I forgot it in the 2nd turn, but now in the 3rd turn I did bring in my Striking Scorpions to sit on that big objective there, which is awesome. Now being controlled by 10 bodies is going to be hard for him to shift. I did bring my Shining Spear down from objective 2 because the Scorpions are now sitting on it. And yeah, the Exarch's ready to fire into the Leman Russ, and then hopefully charge to the right and into the back of the Shield Captain. My Wraith Lord did advance. He's just above the Hemlock Wraith Fighter there. He advanced very quickly for maybe a turn 4 charge. And my Wraith Guard, who were up in the very top of that big ruin on the right side of the map, have previously killed the tank and are now running down. They had to take care of that infantry squad with the mortar. You know, Wraith Guard are not that great in close combat with 1 attack apiece, but they did eventually kill that those guys, so that was pretty funny. And of course you can fall back and shoot, which is just fantastic with those guys as opposed to fire dragons. So here we are. It looks like the psychic phase is complete, and now probably moving into the next phase. I did take some wounds off. I still have all my ranger units -1. I have 5 units of rangers just shooting these mortal wounds. That actually worked out really well. 25 rolls was getting me a few mortal wounds where I needed it per turn, specifically on his big guys, the assassins. The tank took a few mortal wounds. His Alaris Guard took some wounds, so that was all good stuff. And of course my Hemlock unleashed with Smite. I think I did get it off this time, although I didn't get it off in turn 2. And the 2d3 Flamers, I think, was another 4 hits and did what it needed to do, bypassing some invulnerable saves there and doing a couple damage or 4 damage or something like that to the back of the guard. So that was all good stuff. Next, moving in though, as you can see, I was able to take out a few models. The assassin has died. He's down to 1 Alaris Guard, and his big guy Valeris is there. I'm starting to win the fight. He wasn't able to get off his charge up to my HQs the last time, so my Eldred Farseer survived, my Spirit Seer survived, and they're now kind of in that good position with the screen intact to cast Smite and support with other psychic powers like Fortune specifically and more. So there it is. Basically his 2 assassins have now come into me. Well, he does have his 2 guard plus his Valeris, so now he's about to get right into business with me. And he did. He killed the Rangers very easily. He did end up killing the Wraith Lord, but at that point the Wraith Lord, although it would have been good for me to have on the table, better a dead Wraith Lord than a dead caster at this point, because the psychic powers are good. So I have survived so far. And then, yeah, start of my turn. I think it's now turn 4. Wraith Lord's dead. Hemlock I made a mistake and brought the Hemlock too close, so if you think about it this way, it has to move a minimum of 20 inches and its gun's only 16. So if you need to quickly come up and assassinate something, make sure you're 5 inches away from it on the far side. And then when you move your 20, your 16-inch gun should still be in range of whatever you're trying to shoot at. So I got a little bit too eager there with the Hemlock and probably should have kept it off at a 5 or 6 or 7-inch standoff and then flown to the other side of the target. That's a kind of a key tip right there for that guy. But my Wraith Guard have come in, they've been able to shoot something dead and then charge in, which is just fantastic. With T6 3 wounds, pretty durable. Even though they don't have an invul save, I did throw Fortune on the big unit of 5 there, and so they're hanging in. Another Assassin came up, awesome. Those things have tons of attacks, not very happy about it, but they do what they do. And it looks like I still have Fortune off. I was able to doom the tank and I think at some point take it down, which is good. And now, yeah, so that was pretty much it. At the point where I was able to countercharge with my Wraith Guard, countercharge with Eldred of all things with his big staff there. I still had my Exarch alive, which is just awesome. The tank was the last thing to go, and it did go. So that was it. I think a 4-turn game. I think I had 7 points roughly to his one from the objectives, which is holding on to and scoring turn by turn those 2 objectives in the middle of the map. So yeah, that went really well. It was a good fun game. Chris was an excellent opponent the whole time. His Custodes detachment with the 3 captains, shield captains there, they're pretty tough, like at I think rolling at 180 points a model roughly. They're good, they're durable, they've got a 2-up saves, lots of wounds, lots of attacks. I think they're close combat weapon strength 6, I believe, on the charge. You know, it's not quite as strong because it's not straight 2 damage like my guys, but D3 can get lucky in your favor. Plus they do buffs, and then, yeah, they're just really nice models at 180 points. They're tough nuts to crack, and you got to get in there with either mortal wounds or like Jinx to drop their invul save. That's really what you got to do, and he did a great job moving them around. You know, fun gentleman's game. Definitely open war cards was the right choice for me, taking a more fluffy list and him bringing a brand new list that he was still in the middle of painting, which is really cool to actually play them. That's my first time against Custodes, and the first time I think anyone in the Royal Table Top Regiment Club has played Custodes, so that was really great. So a good game overall, had fun, learned a lot, realized the Hemlock positioning is very important. I learned that lightning fast reflexes at that clutch moment is really great. Although I'll probably take more LAA talk, I think all 3 with the 6-up Feel No Pain like built into vehicles is just fantastic. You know, things like having Wraithguard that don't normally have that Feel No Pain, having that was really powerful, or just anything with Feel No Pain. Rangers with Feel No Pain, you know, it's definitely not a minor craft world trait. It turned out to be quite good. I may not bring it on a more tournament side. I'll probably still stick with the Inari and LAA talk battalions, but yeah, a lot of good fun. And hope you enjoyed this battle report. So stay tuned from Extreme Gamer Joe for a quick battle recap number 2. More in the future. Lots of great ideas and brainstorming has been done in the last couple days, and you're going to be getting some pretty neat quick tactical tips with Joe, and some more thoughts and perspective, as well as some more community work in what the Royal Tabletop Regiment's doing, and also right into the nuts and bolts of some of the back-end math and back-end list crafting and codex reading and list building stuff that I do as kind of my preparation to build the next level of lists. So yeah, it's been a pretty good experience. The YouTube channel is going to blow up in the next 2 weeks with a lot more content. I hope you like it. I hope you share it. We're across all the mediums. Just got a brand new poster in the background today. It was pretty cool from Vistaprint, and we're rocking it. So check out the Facebook, check out the YouTube, check out Instagram if you like the pictures. I'll always kind of you know, just before the launch of a QBR or another video, I'll push it out on all the social media with links, and all you have to do is click and watch. So enjoy, subscribe, have a good time, give me your feedback one-on-one when I see you, or through email, chat, message, whatever you got. And thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. Extreme Gamer Joe out.